the rest of your life, you will annoy and upset your partner forever. Hola, buenos dias, and welcome back to the Relationship School's Smart Couple Podcast. I'm your host, Jayson Gaddis, and I am fired up to talk to you today. I love talking about connection and intimacy and how we relate to one another and how we distance from one another, and this crazy game called partnership. This podcast is about long-term committed relationships, and we teach you how to get good at that. And in doing so, if you can get good at long-term relationship, you're going to be good at any relationship because it's the hardest one. That's right. Your partner will trigger you in places that no one else can do. Your kids will trigger you a lot if you got them. Your parents definitely will trigger you. But it's the intimate partner of many, many years that will send you into a lot of shutdown or reactivity or dissociation, anger, a lot of emotions, highs and lows everywhere. So we here at the Relationship School Smart Couple Podcast believe that if you can figure this out, you're going to be in really good shape for work relationships, family relationships, friend relationships, and you're going to have just a better time because people are already difficult, but they become a little less complicated when you have tools. All right, people are intense and kind of crazy and annoying as hell, and you're judging them as much as I am all day long, and people are judging you. But the game is, how can I respect myself, be true to who I am, and find a partner and do a relationship that is mutually beneficial, fulfilling, nourishing, not depleting, and serves us both in a greater life together. So yeah, that's what we're about here at the Smart Couple, and that's what I am hoping to offer you week in and week out. Okay. Thanks to everybody who voted on Instagram around my passport photo. I'm getting a new passport and figured out mine was expired, and I had both passports that I've had, one from when I was a younger boy man, and then one when I was slightly older man. And people tell me I look pretty young, and especially when I shave, but the photos are kind of a kick. I've got longer hair than my wife in my older photo. And I had people, I said, can you guess how old I am in these photos? And I can't remember her name, but someone guessed, and it was a lot of fun. So thanks for playing, as always, guys. I appreciate your participation. At Style by Name won the contest. So she guessed it. So she gets 10% off a relationship course of her choosing. So follow me on Instagram if you want to play and see silly photos of my family and videos that I'm posting on Instagram stories mostly every day. Go to Instagram.com/Jayson Gaddis. All right, as some of you know, I used to be a very emotionally unavailable guy. And underneath that was a very sensitive human being who felt a lot, very empathic, highly, highly sensitive. But due to my upbringing, I made some choices to cover that part of myself up. And so if you and I were dating and in a relationship, I was hard to reach. If you put some alcohol in me, it'd be a little easier. I had just met you and I was attracted to you for a couple months, it was pretty easy. But once we got to know each other well, and I hung out with you for a long period of time, or you hung out with me, and you had some needs, I would start to get upset. And I became that difficult guy that's got like a big wall up and is kind of stiff arming you to only come so close. That was me. And a lot of things happened. There were several factors that happened that had me eventually open up and get connected to myself and figure my shit out and begin to develop myself and understand my psychology, and then start to study formally other people. And this is part of my story, right? So I get a lot of emails from women in particular who want to understand why their guy is pulling away. Am I dating a narcissist? How do I get him to reciprocate? What the hell's going on with him when he shuts down and pulls away? And what can I do? And I get so many of those kind of emails that I wanted to do a short podcast on this one. And then I wanted to teach another class on this. So today we're going to talk about the number one hidden reason men pull away and lose interest. And this is zeroing in on women, okay? If you're listening and you're a woman and you're dating or dealing with a guy who has pulled away or lost interest, he's distancing in some way, shape, or form, or he's emotionally unavailable, he consistently shuts down and doesn't come back, this podcast is for you, because I'm going to give you the big hidden reason, okay, why this is going on. This is really just an informational podcast, educational, and I will share more. I'm going to keep this short, and I'm going to share more in bigger training that I'm doing, okay? And if you want to get access to that, you go to jasongaddis.com/gethimback. All right. And just like it sounds, if you want to try to get this guy's heart back in the game with you, I'm going to do my best to teach you how to do that. Now, some men are a lost cause and it won't work because he's too far gone. Well, I teach you kind of how to tell the difference there as well. But let's dive right in and talk about this biggest but most hidden reason why a guy would pull away from you and lose interest. Now, let me quickly mention that this happens in the other gender dynamic as well, where a man is the emotionally available one pursuing a woman who is emotionally distancing, shutting down. She's pulling away. Okay, so I get that. And I get that it happens no matter what your gender is and no matter where you fall on that spectrum. I'm just trying to keep it simple because most of the emails I get are from women who are into growth and development and they're with a guy who is pulling away for whatever reason. And they're like, what do I do? And they typically want to know, if that's you, typically want to know two things. What in the hell is going on with this guy? And what do I do? So let's get in there. And I want to mostly cover the why, because guys get judged a lot here in the relationship department, and it's understandable, okay? Men are, in general, lagging behind women when it comes to relational capacities and development, in my experience. And Warren Farrell and people like him would agree with me and have made these types of statements before. Warren wrote The Myth of Male Power, if you want to check that out. So is he just being a guy? Is he just being a jerk? Is he an asshole? What's his problem? Is he a narcissist? On and on. So we have to remember that there is a reason that he is pulling away or distancing from you. And the number one hidden reason is pretty simple, guys. It's that he is triggered. He's triggered. And he doesn't know how to deal with his activation, right? That is the number one hidden reason why a man would pull away from you. He's triggered and doesn't know how to deal with his activation. Notice how I didn't say, it's because you screwed up, or it's because you're doing this, or because you're doing that. The big reason is he's activated and he doesn't have tools. He's just like, he's just blindsided, right? And so he shuts down. Not by choice, but because that's what happens in his nervous system when you behave in the way that you do. Okay, this is very straightforward stuff. The more you understand people and how we work in relationship, the more it's like, oh, I just am being my neurotic self here and doing the best I can, and I'm going to annoy and upset my partner. And this will happen for the rest of your life, folks. The rest of your life, you will annoy and upset your partner forever. So to think that you can behave in a way that does not shut him down or where he won't pull away is simply a fantasy. It's not going to happen. However, he will, if you learn some things, he might behave differently. So your work is to understand yourself. And if you want to understand him and have some compassion and understanding, even though you probably are totally fed up with it, just learn to understand the guy and what in the hell he's going through. He doesn't even understand. Okay, if it's a guy, especially if it's a guy that's not into growth and development in the relationship space, maybe he's into growth and development when it comes to sports, working on his golf game, working on, the way he plays baseball, the softball league, whatever. Or maybe he's really into growth and development when it comes to his job. He wants to get really good at selling. He's a car salesman, or he's into selling software. He is going to need to learn how to sell, and he's going to read books on selling, most likely. And he's into working on that part of himself. But when it comes to you and him, he's not. And if he's not there, he doesn't even realize that it's a problem, that he has something that he can do something about, most likely, and he isn't doing something about it, right? Which is why you're listening to this podcast. It's just not on his radar. So let me repeat. The number one reason men pull away and lose interest is because he's triggered and activated and does not know what to do. Doesn't even really know what's going on. All right. When I was triggered throughout my adolescence and pretty much my entire 20s, about a decade, when I got triggered, I didn't even have the language to say I was triggered, or I had no clue what was going on. And I was certain it was you. If I was dating you, I was pretty sure it was because of you. That's all I could figure out. Because I knew that when I wasn't around you, it got better. And I knew that if I had a couple drinks, it got better. Or if I knew that you wouldn't call me and need so much, it sort of improved. It was like, I got some relief. Which is why you start to make it about yourself. And he might even make a comment, well, if you just blank, or why are you making such a big deal out of this? When he makes comments like that, it hooks you, and then now you're triggered and you're making it about yourself, and then you start to tiptoe around and not want to upset him even more. And you're over there going, what did I do wrong? What am I doing? What the hell's happening here? Bless your heart, you're trying to see that, well, maybe I have something to do with it here, whereas he won't do that. He's so self-absorbed that he self-absorbed in a kind of narcissistic way. He's not thinking like, what did I do wrong? He's like thinking, what did you do wrong? And you and him think differently here. You think, what did I do wrong? He thinks, yeah, what did you do wrong? And that keeps you both really stuck. Really stuck. All right, there's several other reasons that cascade on top of he gets triggered and doesn't know how to deal that I'm going to mention in my free training. Okay, go to jasongaddis.com/gethimback. And I'm going to give you the rest of these reasons and then what you can do about it. All right. And I'll leave you with one tip here in terms of what you can do about it. I'll leave you two tips. Stop making it about you. All right. He's projecting his past history onto you. You're behaving in a certain way. He gets triggered by your behavior, but it's not about you. You're doing your job triggering him into his wounds that he doesn't know how to deal with yet, just by being you. So it's not about you. It's about someone from his past that he's projecting onto you. Okay, that's tip one. You got to get this and stop taking it so personally. I know it's hard, believe me. Even still, when my wife and I get into it, I will go, what did I do wrong? Or what's up? What did I do? What did I not do? And that can be a really seductive place couples can go. But do your best to not make it about you and just pretend for a minute that he's projecting his mom or his history all over you. And you're just, you're the messenger triggering him into that stuff. Okay, that's all you're doing. And that's not wrong, by the way. Okay, you're not doing anything wrong there. Okay, the second tip is Give him space. Learn how to work with your reaction when he takes space, when he shuts down, and when he pulls away. Learn to breathe and feel your body, feel your heart, put your hand on your heart, take 10 breaths, and don't send that text. Don't send that email. Don't chase after him. Just relax. And there's a lot of really important reasons why I have you do this, okay? And it's really important for someone who feels scared and insecure when your guy pulls away. You need to get a little stronger here, okay? So that is something you can work on. And so please, please, please give him a little space, relax into your experience, and it's going to be okay, all right? Now, if you want to take the next step with me and you want to go deeper into this, I share a lot more in this free training, okay? jasongaddis.com/gethimback. And if you sign up for this free training, I'm going to teach you the deal. The other about 4 or 5 reasons he doesn't make you a priority and pulls away from you, and what's really going on in the male psychology. And I'm certainly going to talk about some of the behaviors you can change that need to be tweaked, all right? So for example, when you're tiptoeing around and walking on eggshells, that's going to piss him off. I know it sounds weird. And you're, again, bless your heart, you're doing your best here. But when you tiptoe around and you start to play into your insecurities because you're making it about you, it's going to probably get worse. So see if you can refrain from the tiptoeing thing. And we'll get more into that in the free training, all right? Okay, I'm going to trust this has been helpful in understanding your man and why he pulls away, and also giving you 2 tips as to what you can do about it. So your action step is to do those 2 things I mentioned. Stop making it about you and give him space. And giving him space is going to require a 3rd thing, which is for you to relax into your upset and discomfort. Okay, go practice, and we'll see you in the free training. JasonGaddis.com/gethimback. All right, take care.